Hello and welcome to this Coevolve live event, and today we're going to talk a little bit about some of the new managed services that we're offering in Microsoft's Azure Virtual WAN. My name is Kieran Roach. I'm the CTO and co-founder of Coevolve. I'm going to talk in a slightly new format here today about some of these new capabilities. So rather than this being a very well-structured corporate type presentation, I'm going to talk a little bit more openly and casually about some of these capabilities we're bringing to the market and share some details around why we're bringing these offerings to the market, as well as what some of the benefits that our clients could realize from them might be. So we'll walk into the first slide here. I think the best place to start maybe is just with a quick overview of Coevolve. So we started the business in 2014 specifically because we could see that there was a real opportunity for enterprises that wanted to adopt next generation technologies, and we could see a lot of those next generation technologies starting to come onto the market, but there really wasn't anybody out there that had a real focus on bringing a service focused approach to the table. So there were a lot of products out there, and there were a lot of interesting and innovative technologies that the enterprise could potentially benefit from, but really nobody that was building compelling service models across the top of that. We've since grown that. So since 2014, we're now in a position where we provide managed services across about 75 countries. And the main foundation of the services we offer today are really around these three pillars that we show here on the left-hand side. So telco independent SD-WAN, where we completely separate the SD-WAN solution from the underlay that it sits across. And our clients use just over 300 ISPs and telcos in that underlay today. So we're doing this on a pretty broad scale across the world, and we know and really understand a lot about how these underlying technology providers work. We then have a separate focus on cloud networking and multi-cloud, and this is really driven by the fact that our clients' networks are changing, and we're starting to see them really move towards this multi-cloud approach where the destinations that they need to gain access to aren't sitting in the on-premises part of the network anymore. They're sitting in the public cloud. They're often sitting in the Microsoft cloud or the Google or Amazon cloud. Maybe they're sitting in a hybrid environment where some of it is their own corporate infrastructure, but then they're slowly migrating workloads into the public cloud. And we want to make sure that we've got the right set of capabilities to support that. And then finally, we've got a very significant practice around the integration of some of these technologies. So how do you take disparate technologies and vendor products together and really turn that into an overall solution that can deliver insights back to the enterprise around what's going on in their environment, what does the performance, the health look like, how can you draw insights into the end-to-end performance of the network and so on. So that analytics and integration practice is a really significant part of what we're doing and will continue to be as we go forward. So we've been at this for quite some time, and we've really grown alongside the SD-WAN industry and expanded then from SD-WAN into cloud networking and multi-cloud. And that can be seen just from the timeline that we're showing here. So since 2014, 2015, we were looking at these technologies. We were doing our first proof of concepts and integration testing. We've really grown that now to the point where we've got a global deployment of these technologies across many different regions. We've got a really deep understanding of a lot of the vendor products and technologies, and that is a key differentiator for us as we go to the market, is that knowledge and the expertise that we bring to the table, and we continue to leverage that with our global clients today. We bring what we call a multi-stack or a full stack approach to the table. So we work with strategic partners across all levels of the technology here. So everything from the edge underlay, so the foundation of these networks, all the way up to that analytics layer across the top. We've identified and worked with the right mix of partners in each one of those layers so that we can have a compelling solution that's going to deliver value to the enterprise, but also there's a level of credibility attached to it. We're working with partners that can deliver and have a track record of doing that delivery. And then our expertise is around the integration of those technologies, but then also the overall management and insights that we can derive from that. And I think we can see from the client's perspective, the reasons why they typically want to work with us is because we bring this independent approach to the table. We're not delivering services that are tied into any one particular telco network or carrier infrastructure. We take this over-the-top approach that allows us to deliver a true end-to-end solution independent of whatever underlay or telco network the client might be sitting on. And we've demonstrated that that approach can really deliver benefits to the client. It lets them unlock the full value of these technologies. It means they can tap into emerging options and next generation networking options, like what we're going to talk about in a few moments within Azure Virtual WAN. And at the edge of the network, they're using that full feature set of the SD-WAN solution. They're not using a more limited version of that because that's all that works in the telco network. So that full access to the technology is repeatedly one of the key reasons our clients tell us that they value working with our team around the world. So let's turn the focus a little bit to what we call cloud networking and multi-cloud. And I think the key point here is that, as I mentioned a moment ago, our client networks are really starting to change. So the clients today want to be able to use networks that can connect seamlessly into cloud workloads because that's where the applications are going, that's where the workloads are going, and they want to make sure that they've got a network that can really support that effectively. So it's not sufficient anymore just to get great connectivity between branch offices and data centers, for example. The network needs to be able to accommodate reliable, high-performance connectivity back into the cloud. And what's happened is that the center of gravity of these networks has really started to change. Instead of it being the cloud being a spoke off to the side of the network, in many of our clients' networks, the cloud is the hub of the network, and then the client's own sites and users are spokes on that network that need to connect back to those cloud workloads. And when you start to approach it that way, it really changes the way you architect these networks. So we've seen a huge level of interest from our clients in using technologies like Azure Virtual WAN and using that type of technology to really change that network topology. So instead of the cloud being off to the edge, it's pulled into the very center of that network, and then the network is really designed around that cloud environment. And that's exactly the type of deployment that we've seen clients really leveraging Azure Virtual WAN effectively to deliver. They're able to move away from being bound to traditional telco backbones into a model where they can leverage the Microsoft cloud in the middle, if that's the cloud provider that they're moving a lot of their workloads into, and take advantage of the high performance network that goes between the different regions on that network so that they get the best possible performance for those workloads across those different regions. So to facilitate that, we're bringing two key offerings to the market. And one of those is for clients that are really at the very beginning of this process and are interested in the potential of the technology, but haven't yet made any progress with it yet, or don't necessarily know how to quantify the potential benefits that they could get. The second, which we'll talk about in a moment, is a full end-to-end managed service for the Azure Virtual WAN platform. So the first of these offerings is available today on the Azure Marketplace, and it's what we're calling a 4-hour network readiness workshop. So most clients, most enterprises today have a wide area network in place. They have existing connectivity into those environments. They've got traditional partners they work with. They've got resilience, redundancy. They've got maybe optimization in place to guarantee a certain level of performance across the network. And perhaps they're intrigued by the idea of something like Azure Virtual WAN, but don't necessarily have the internal expertise or the market knowledge to be able to really quantify what a move to a technology like that might look like. So this workshop is really intended to help clients on that journey. So we work with the client to review not just the technology and the potential benefits of Azure Virtual WAN, but reviewing that in the context of the client's own network. So the client will typically come to the table with presentations around network topologies or key traffic flows or other details like that. And we can use that data to be able to have a really informed discussion around how we could transform that network for the client. How can we get them from where they are today in a traditional, maybe legacy network, to a future state that's incorporating some of the real benefits of a cloud technology like Azure Virtual WAN. So we run this as a virtual session. We use our own global technical consulting team to run these sessions where we're taking all of that market knowledge and edge network knowledge and cloud network knowledge that the Coevolve team really has from all of our existing work that we do today, and we apply that to the client's environment to be able to demonstrate what the future state might look like. And then we can help quantify those benefits in terms of performance, cost savings, other potential improvements that we could deliver onto that client's environment. And the client can come away from it with something tangible in terms of how that future state might work. So they can have a checklist for adoption of the technology. They can have a really clear understanding of how they'll go on that journey from point A to point B. The second of these offerings is around a full managed service over the top of Azure Virtual WAN. So for clients that are both interested in the technology, but also ready to start the journey of adopting the technology, this lets us go beyond just running a workshop and into a scenario where we can actually run the full deployment of that solution. So we do the design, we do the integration, we do the deployment, ongoing management, ongoing optimization of the solution inside the client's own Azure tenancy. So the client can have an interaction with the Coevolve managed services team that's maybe quite similar to what they would have had with a traditional telco partner, but we're managing a network that is much more modern and much more future-proof in the sense that it's being built on top of a cloud foundation. So it allows the client to gain all the benefits of using cloud-based services and cloud networking without having to instantly develop all of those competencies and expertise internally. They can leverage that managed services model to really get the most out of this. So we do this using what Microsoft calls their Azure Lighthouse portal. So with this, the client can delegate management of certain resource groups in their Azure tenancy to Coevolve. And then we in turn can allow authorized members of our team to gain access to that delegated resource group to do the build and configuration and ongoing management of the client's Azure Virtual WAN environment. So we're not having to sit over the shoulder of a client and have them make the changes in their environment. The client can securely carve out a portion of their network, and we can build and manage the whole environment within that carved out portion. So we've developed a really efficient way of handling the whole lifecycle management of these particular solutions, and we can use that capability then to provide a really effective managed service for the client. So the client sees this as a really significant transformation from where they used to be. Maybe they were leveraging variable low performance internet bandwidth between their regions, or maybe they were working with a telco partner, for example. This allows them to move away from that and have Azure Virtual WAN sit in the very middle of the network and have sites that are maybe on one side of the world connecting back to workloads that are on the other side of the world, traversing that high performance Microsoft backbone in the middle. And we've worked through a lot of different scenarios with clients to really quantify the benefits of this. And we've been able to show that this type of transformation can deliver a really high performance outcome for the client. And in many cases, we're able to achieve significant cost savings as well. So hopefully this has been useful. We'll cover some additional detail around these capabilities in some subsequent sessions. But for now, I'll wrap up the session by saying thank you. And if there are any questions, please feel free to reach out to any one of our team, and we'd be more than happy to go into additional detail or to look at this in the context of your own environment and help start the journey to adopting some technologies like this. So thank you very much, and look forward to speaking to you soon. Thank you.